wastage of human resources occurs at all age levels.
The fakeness was hypernormal.
But infancy is an especially hazardous period.
For one thing, our youth of today are the object of the most extensive, intensive, diabolical campaign ever.
In a single year, the United States has recorded over 60,000 infant deaths in the first month
The
of
United
life.
States is giving more to needy nations, including communist countries, than all the communist countries put together have given to other nations throughout all time.
In the next 11 months of life, over 40,000 more infant deaths.
Many of the pups get lost in the violence and confusion.
Adding the number of stillbirths would bring the figure to over 180,000.
Building blocks of life are everywhere.
In a tiny 18 by 18-foot cottage, clinging to the edge of his mountain. Over the years, he would completely redesign Monticello.
His patients found themselves in a world that had no meaning any longer.
That there was no royal road to geometry.
That what shapes how people feel is the society around them.
Next to infancy, childhood is the most hazardous period of life.
His friends urged him to escape.
There's no way to be committed to nonviolence in the middle of the most violent society that history's ever created. I'm not committed to nonviolence in any way.
But he refused on the grounds that the law said he must die. And he accepted the law as being right.
These dangers cause by far the greatest number of deaths in the childhood
There
years.
are medical machines that will fail in ICU
Accidents
units.
like this that kill and cripple thousands of children every year are caused by carelessness and inadequate safety
The
precautions.
casual act of pricking a finger is an event of some magnitude on the scale of the very small. Millions of red blood cells are detoured from their usual routes.
They are almost all
With the
preventable.
development of bacteriological warfare life forms, with death ray technologies, and pollution of land, air, and water that could have long-term, unpredictable worldwide effects.
So are diseases like pneumonia and influenza, which also take a heavy toll in sickness and death among this age group.
Some said the bridge couldn't possibly be built.
In order to make sure that the formula is consistent, Alam Feroz, quality control manager for the concrete of the Burj Dubai,
alienate the younger people who use the evening for youth activities.
This is what the story of man is all about, is the devil is coming to test us and tempt us and try to get us to curse God.
But the infrastructure problem goes much deeper than pavement.
Each of these laboratory specimens, simulating pavement slabs, has been through 200 freeze-thaw cycles using de-icers mixed with water impounded on the top.
Covered here in Bolzano, Italy.
The middle years of life should be the most productive
The
years.
most extensive, intensive, diabolical campaign ever conceived.
On farm, in mill and factory.
And a being from another planet might be much stranger still.
Yet, many are not at work because of accidents, illness, and occupational disease.
350,000 people hack and shoot and bayonet each other.
Millions of productive hours are lost.
And 40,000 of them are seriously wounded or die.
Reducing income for workers and their families.
Tourists come here and take pictures.
And reducing production for society.
As people come along and say, oh, we're on great shape, we're on a great track, we're in great shape, we have everything under control, look how much compliance we've got, and then the test comes back, no, you're not.
Say you're on a train or a plane or at a little cafe.
The enemy is not the players, whom the owners regard merely as ingrates, misled ingrates.
Was a prisoner in my own apartment, he said. I lived like an outcast in my own country.
We have rubber to mix with gasoline to make it burn slower.
Far stronger than what we've got today.
We never thought that a computer would play at grandmaster level.
Further wastage of skills and energies takes place in old age.
This is just somebody who's completely deteriorating.
In these years, too, the continuing wastes of life and vitality present a serious problem.
We were so much a part of the system that it was impossible to see beyond.
Many old people are victims of accidents that cripple.
The fakeness was hypernormal.
Or chronic diseases that bring handicaps, impairments, and unhappiness.
What shapes how people feel is the society around
Still
them.
others vainly seek work.
Above all, the structure of power.
Because of their need for an income and their desire to be
Not
useful.
only controls their lives, but also how they feel.
The aged often spend their last years in bitterness, unhappiness.
And if you want to change the way people feel, you have to find a way to change that too.
In order to be human, in order to love each other and be equal with each other and not place each other in roles, we have to destroy the kind of government that keeps us from asserting our positive values of life.
And the flaw is everywhere. Yes, it's in computer programs, software programs. It's also embedded into those microcomputers.
Death, the great equalizer.
The enemy is Marvin Miller.
He is the man without a face.
In the desert, the entire world is both coming and going at nearly the speed of light.
For the psychological program must be constantly updated.
It really struck you that this is just deteriorating in such a short period of time. You just didn't expect it. And the whole potential for life and for all the things that you were going to do and all your friends most likely will do too.
No individual is responsible for his own words, thoughts, character, or actions.
Octopus or a centipede has a different plan.
All this, say the economic environment in which man lives.
Some polar animals will face great challenges
Wastage of human
as
resources.
their ice world vanishes around them.
But that happens to be what the socialists and communists say about the profit motive.
There's now little chance of catching seals, and this bear may not eat again until the end of summer.
I mold this clay
Lean months lie ahead for the polar bears.
into a child's toy animal.
They will have to adopt new hunting strategies.
You would regard the energy expended by me as capital.
Or risk starvation.
There was too much pressure because of this terrible disaster we had here. I think public opinion would have overridden whatever they may have found.
People like fear. We place ourselves in fearful situations.
Why do we have so many arrows unfinished?
Well, there's a lot of places we could go. I mean, you could go to any major city in America and see roads and bridges.
Unfortunately, they wanted that sausage sandwich because they saw one of these piers with an 8-foot gash in it about 5 inches wide. Why?
And how was the bridge being used at the time? At which point the chain was completely severed.
As the sun sets, the second shift workers return.
And the building doesn't have strength enough to handle that. Down it comes. Twice the height of the Empire State Building.
Palm oil is better and cheaper than sewage. Oh, and incidentally, it's the key ingredient in napalm.
When tragedy strikes in an American city,
The really effective thing about napalm is that when they stick it to you, they really stick it to you.
with a disastrous hotel fire,
When a 100-gallon drop tank filled with sticky napalm hits the ground,
we are shocked.
within an area 30 by 90 yards,
Before this blaze was extinguished, 52 people had lost their lives.
everything is toast.
The last remnants of the ice world drift with the wind and the tides.
Wastage of human resources occurs at all age levels.